YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So Meghan has been leaking to the media again through these hidden sources, these friends of hers, and it has been revealed that she has been trashing the royal family and she has been attacking Kate. Now, if you reference some of my previous videos, I did cover the way in which I suspected that there is definitely jealousy on Meghan's part of Kate, and I do believe there is jealousy on Harry's part regarding his brother being the future king. Everything is about to come out in the wash, and it seems that Meghan was very envious of Kate during her time as a senior royal in the royal family. So she has come out with all of these ridiculous statements regarding the way in which the British media treated her, and she basically said, the article is titled, "If Kate was being criticised, no one would put up with it. Bitter Meghan tells friends the palace favoured her sister-in-law and would have attacked the UK tabloids if she was the one relentlessly picked on. That is an out-and-out misconception. That is a lie, simply. Kate had her fair share of abuse by the British media, and everyone has a fair share of abuse by the British media, especially if you are a controversial couple and especially if you feed yourself to them. Now, we know Meghan has fed herself to them. She should have known that this was going to be a recipe for disaster. If she had decided to cut off her dad before getting with Harry or during her courtship with Harry, she should have sorted out that situation, whether it was a non-disclosure. She should have gotten him to sign something along with her sister, along with her brother. And I know this sounds like I'm sympathising with her regarding the breakdown of her relationships with her family. No, I'm not sympathising with the breakdown of her relationships with her family members, but I do believe that she could have passed herself off in a better light as a good person if she hadn't had them talking. I still believe that she's failed to realise the reason why the British media is gone at her throat and gone at Harry's throat is simply because of the way in which she had her father, who was critically ill, very fragile, very old, and her sister constantly leaking to the media. Her brother also wrote that extensive letter trying to warn Harry about the fracturing of the royal family and to not go ahead with the wedding because he dubbed it would be Harry's biggest mistake of his life, and everything is coming out in the wash. As I said, it does look like it is going to be Harry's biggest mistake, or one of the biggest mistakes of his life, because he's had no peace since he's been in this marriage. So I found this article quite what's the word for it? It definitely sounds like Meghan. It sounds very accusatory. It sounds very victim-like. We know that she likes to play the victim. She has been termed a narcissist on social media. A lot of people write that in the comments, that she's self-centered, that she's me again, and this sounds everything and the above. It sounds very narcissistic. It sounds as though she's looking to blame everyone else but her. And it's very deflective. So I'm going to go in on what these sources, quote unquote sources, have leaked to the media. And we know that these sources are either coming from her PR team or her close friends who she's effectively using to try and make her come off in a better light, and it's just not going to work. And what I find quite ironic about this, also this leaking and this desperation to keep on trashing the UK, the people of the UK, now the royal family, and bash Kate has done nothing to her, is that they've gone to LA, they went to Canada, they are staying in a beautiful mansion, they have a baby, allegedly they're planning a second baby. We're not really concerned about them. So much is going on outside of Meghan and Harry, and yet they are looking back at the UK. Are they bitter? Is it not really working out the way they thought it would work out? Did she really think that she could trash us and we take it lying down, and then she'd run off to LA and play the Good Samaritan and look all angelic and pure and innocent? I think that it's really turning for the worst for Meghan and Harry. They're not getting away with what I think they thought they'd get away with. There is even a reference to Diana, which I thought was, it doesn't really fit, because Diana's situation is completely different to what Meghan and Harry have done. Meghan and Harry have created a storm in a teacup, and they have brought this on themselves with their comments, with their moaning, with their whining, with their lack of consideration, with their wasting of money on private jets. They've brought this on themselves. I'm going to go into this article. It was an interesting read. And it starts out with Meghan Markle has told friends that if Kate Middleton was constantly being criticised by the press, the royal family would have stepped in and changed its media policies and shunned the tabloids. An insider is exclusively told the dailymail.com. The reality of it is the royal family do not control the media. They can't really tell them what to do. Yes, they have to be careful when they speak about the royals, but they can't control it to that extent. It's never been like that. I mean, do they not understand freedom of speech? It's like they've gone into, I don't know, some kind of archaic period in history, and they've decided that no one should have freedom of speech when it regards them. If people don't like what you're putting out, serve them something fresh, right? So it carries on. No one would have put up with it, and the broken and outdated system would have been revised. Excuse me. So she's calling the British media broken and outdated. I think she's gonna have she's gonna really see what broken and outdated is when she's literally being hounded down the street after lockdown in LA. It carries on to say those outlets responsible for their vicious attacks would have been shut out, a friend explained. The Duchess, 38, family believes if the tables were turned and her sister-in-law had been subject to the same treatment, changes would have been made. Last week, the Sussexes announced they would have no cooperation and zero engagement with 4 UK tabloids, including the Daily Mail, citing Meghan's poor treatment. Oh, boo, 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 hoo. The tears are literally rolling down my face for her. Oh my God, what a victim. Tens of millions of pounds of clothes in her closet. Oh my God, it's so tragic. Although palace aides said everyone was stunned by the move, the friend said, Meghan said no one in the royal family should be surprised with the announcement. I think everyone in the royal family was probably like, oh, here goes another blunder. Well, we have more important things to worry about now. They're talking, but they're churning over old news that was relevant before everything that happened, that is happening now. Oh, seriously. She said everyone knew exactly how Harry felt about the British tabloids and the changes he wanted made. If Kate was being criticised, no one would put up with it. Bitter Meghan tells friends the palace favoured her sister-in-law and would have attacked the UK tabloids if she were the one relentlessly picked on to protect his family. That's not true. Kate was mocked. She was laughed at. She was called Waity Katie. No one said anything. That you have to roll with the punches. It's not about controlling the public and what the public think. It's about making sure that you put a foot right and you actually do what is required of you. You stay humble. You are taking our money. Effectively, we pay for your upkeep. We pay for your lifestyle. What is there for you to moan about? Seriously. Anyway, it carries on and says, they added, Meghan said Harry needed to take a stand for her, their son and his mother. The insider explained what irritated Meghan and Harry the most. Okay, let me just stop it there. Everything irritates Meghan and Harry. What doesn't irritate them? Right? It carries on, was if the press had constantly criticised and needlessly bashed Kate the way they did her. Changes within the royals' media policy would have been made, no questions asked. Harry went to his father, Prince Charles, and his grandmother, the Queen, constantly about Meghan being bullied, but they wouldn't do anything to change the protocol, despite seeing how it was tearing him apart, according to the source. There's also a reference in this article of the media possibly tearing apart their marriage. I would like to say, Meghan and Harry, you guys have done that on your own, really. Your marriage is fragile because of your own behaviour, and let's face it, the media were only rolling with the stories that her dad was feeding them, that her sister was feeding them, that her brother was feeding them. You made it easy. And then it carries on to say, Meghan said it was infuriating that Harry's very real and valid concerns fell on deaf ears, the source said. Or maybe sometimes it just gets draining and tiring when someone's just constantly whining. And Harry does definitely come across as an extremely whiny character. He's whining at the media, he's whining about this, he's whining about climate change, he's talking about racism, he's saying, oh, just call me Harry. And then they're having a rant and talking about how they're the Duke and Duchess of of Sussex, and they have entitlement to security, and they have the jurisdiction to use royal overseas, but they're not going to out of respect for the Queen, but they could do. You know, they're whining. Why would his dad be listening at this point? If he was my son, I certainly wouldn't be listening. Then it carries on to say, in January, Meghan and Harry stunned the world when they announced they would be quitting their royal duties to become financially independent and split their time between North America and England. The friend explained, Meghan said when she was living in England, she was being bullied by the media non-stop, and Harry knew he had to do something dramatic to protect her and the family. Well, they've done that thing dramatic. They've moved away. Go away already. Why are these friends talking to the media? Don't they want to be gone? Be gone. Right? It carries on to say, she said she was being treated unfairly and picked on for everything she did, including rubbing her belly too much when she was pregnant. No, Meghan, you wasn't just rubbing your belly. You was actually moving garments, okay, repeatedly, moving your coat to the left and to the right to make sure, and then clapping. I saw this really awkward clip on social media where she was at an event and she was constantly moving her coat and then clapping, then moving her coat and then clap. It was just so weird. I've never seen a pregnant woman do that. Who does that? I mean, that is a story for a month for the media. Anyway, so it carries on to say, she said there was no way she was going to go through motherhood being criticised for every little thing she did. The friend continued. She said she told Harry that it was only going to get worse. It was a no-win situation and the only solution was to take control of their own lives. Harry needed to take a stand for her, their son and his mother. You're such victims, yet you are running the streets knowing that the paparazzi are going to take photos of you. You're selling photos to PR firms. You are constantly leaking to the media. You're writing letters for everyone to read, saying that you're not going to be talking to certain sources when you could literally just say no comment. And now you're saying you left the royal family to take a stand. Well, take that stand. Be quiet. If you don't say anything, then no one will write anything. But you're constantly talking. Oh my God. They don't do things in a logical way. It doesn't make any sense. Then it carries on to say, Meghan and Harry made it crystal clear that they could not function in good faith under the current system, and that if it wasn't revised and updated to their liking, who do they think they are? Oh my God, revised and updated to their liking. Do they really think that the world just revolves around them? Is this what it is? This is the time I don't even feel like I'm in 2020 anymore. Who are these people? Do they want to live in a dictatorship? What do they mean, to their liking? Carries on to say, they would have no other choice than to break from the royal family. Well, you've done that. Bye. Toodles, right? But here we are, we have them still leaking to the media. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit more of this. She said no one took his pleas seriously, so they had to take the issue into their own hands. This was about protecting the family and doing right by Princess Diana. So here we are, they're using Diana as a reference point for their issues. Your mother's issues has absolutely nothing to do with the treatment you've had today. Then it carries on to say, she said the British tabloids have haunted Harry since childhood and should have been kicked out of the media pool long ago. The royal family actually, I'm not really sure if they know how this works, but the royal family actually needs the media to highlight good issues. We all need the media to highlight good issues to keep us glued together globally. That's what we need. We need information, and you can only really do that by allowing them to have freedom of speech to do what it is they do best, which is run the stories as close to the truth as possible. I think I'm going to do a part 2 of this video. Anyway, guys, I'm going to do part 2, so I'll be back. Bye, guys.